Hello, everyone out there who's listening. This is the Hustle and Motivate podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Marcus of Intellect Media. I've got Will here from Will Hawkins Photography. This is part 2 of our second shooting discussion. We actually have our 2 team members with us here today. Don't like to call them second shooters. Well, at least I don't like to call mine that, because calling him a second shooter means he can go out there and shoot for other people, and he doesn't have that luxury. I don't know what Will refers to his as, but Eric is a teammate, and that's what we're going to call him on this episode. So we've got Eric and Josh here to give a great perspective on what it is like being under somebody and how the process of how it makes you better and what makes a good teammate / second shooter. So we want to give them opportunity to give the inside scoop on that. So Josh, give a little background on the Josh Boone Photography brand.
Well, hello to everybody. A little background about myself. I've been doing photography for 5 years. Started out at ODU. First started with falling in love with sports and concerts. That's how I get like a lot of like my candid and emotion out of like photography. And then I slowly met a wedding photographer on the sideline at a basketball game, and it really sparked my interest into the wedding industry. And from there, just gravitated to working with a lot of professionals in the area and just fell in love with it.
Okay, and I've got my main man, Eric Camacho, who I met at the Regent University, a.k.a. the school of being too expensive to go to.
That's true.
So
True
I'd like to introduce my homeboy, Eric, my teammate, my guy.
How's it going there? This is Eric Camacho with Intellect Media. I guess I've been shooting with Marcus now for 5 years. I've known him for 7.
Keep going,
Eric. Kind of got into this because Marcus and I were friends. I had him working editing a couple of projects when I was learning how to produce and do my producing gigs. So me and him collaborated on a couple of projects. We decided to bring me on when he floated out his wedding business, and been working underneath him ever since. So it's been pretty much an honor and pleasure just to work with somebody that keeps you moving and hustling and motivated, because it actually helped me personally with some of the gigs I do on the side, doing documentaries and such.
Y'all hear that? Did you see the tagline? Moving, hustling, motivated. Y'all heard that?
I dig it.
So, for those who you may not know, we might have said this in previous episodes. This is kind of the passion topic that kind of started the idea of this. Will was going on a rant one day, and the text message like he normally does.
I do not.
I had the idea of, since you want to talk so much, let's do a podcast. And this was the topic that kind of sparked it. So we talked about it in in part 1 of this episode. So now we want to talk about it in 2. So I'm going to ask Josh you this, because you deal with this a little more than Eric, since you have your own thing. Why do you believe second shooters are so hard to find?
I think in today's time, it's more of a pride issue than anything else. There's a lot of people that don't want to seek advice or help. And, just to kind of combat that, the importance of that is like anything else. It's like going to school and learning from some of your favorite people. You get a chance to work along with them, understand the business, and just gravitate more in the industry. The reason why I think it's hard outside of like just pride, it's really just people are kind of weird nowadays. And no, seriously, like people don't know how to talk to people. They're afraid to approach people. We're in a social media world, social media driven world. So you're going to get a text message reply before somebody answer a phone call. So when you see somebody that is on a level you aspire to be on, it can be a little bit intimidating to even ask them for their help. So most people don't ask for help nowadays.
This society today has changed. I remember growing up, it cost a text. I've had many phone bills, and Eric's older than me, so he was around with cell phones.
You were growing up. Hold on. Talk about having a pocket full of quarters just so I can make a phone call. Hold on here.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So just so you can understand that cell phones had just come around when I was coming up. He's older, so by a lot. So that just knows how that feels. So Will, why do you believe second shooters are so hard to find? And I'm pretty sure we're going to need to sit back and just let you go ahead and have this.
Because nobody's technically sound. Like,
okay,
y'all all want something for nothing. Like, you didn't learn anything. and now all of a sudden you want to come out the gate charging someone $50 an hour for what? Like, where's your precision? Like, I've worked with second shooters.
He said he was going to be chill on this one.
Look, man. Okay. Yeah. Nobody's technically sound.
Well, let me hop on your little piggyback here real fast. Is that I think it's not necessarily just that people aren't technically sound. Is that, yeah, people are always gassing you up with social media and phones and stuff like that. They believe they have more than what they have.
Yes.
So it's kind of, and in the same instance, people are building brands and with social media and everything like that, thinking they have a brand and they're still getting established. Nobody sees the work that everyone who's already put on did behind the scenes and is growing with it.
Right.
I think that whole idea of growth and not doing things in a slow and methodical space is what people are lacking. Everyone wants to get done now. So they just like, boom, I did a hot photo.
Is not going to give you any of those things you just mentioned. Like, second shooting should be like, to me, and I've done a lot of second shooting, so that's why I think I can speak freely on this subject. Like, it's college to me. Like, it's school to me. Like, you can't go out here demanding $3,000, $4,000 for a wedding if you don't know the ebb and flow of a wedding day. If you don't know how to problem solve. Like, I learned a lot second shooting. How to stay cool under pressure. Don't let things get to you. Like, there were times when I worked a 12-hour wedding day and we sat around waiting for the bride to get ready. And this particular photographer, during this time sitting around getting ready, he didn't just sit around. Like, we went out, we photographed the building, the details, which, you know, that comes with the day itself anyway. But he gave different angles of the details. He didn't just sit around. Most people are just sitting around when they're second shooting, not doing little things to help the photographer, which is what a second shooter is supposed to be there for, in my opinion. I'm done.
You sure?
I'm positive.
Because the original question.
Are you sure?
We still got more questions
Look,
to go.
man, I'm trying to chill. I am.
End of episode.
I am.
And that's a wrap, folks.
I mean, I can speak. I have been fortunate where I went through I didn't really have to go through second shooters. I've been fortunate to get guys who I
might add though. Hold on. Eric is dope, bro.
First of all,
I appreciate that, man.
Don't big his head up because anything.
Not
Eric,
like
you're good enough just to get by.
there we go. No, but on the real though, is that one thing I think if you want to talk about myself, especially in the videography world, the reason why I think I make myself a good second shooter is that one is the wedding world. I see it as something that's more your industry that you live and you thrive and you do so well in. So when I'm learning aspects of what you're doing, I'm looking at it totally from an outsider looking in. I'm not having this big head saying that, oh, I worked a documentary, I held a camera before, so I can do this. I know I can shoot it like this. Let's try to do an interview like this.
People
it's
like
not
that.
me. Like I look at it totally like, this is your product that you're putting out. I'm trying to put the best product that makes our name the best because it's a representation of you, not just a representation of me. So I think it's having that deferential attitude that you got to step back. It's like you got to understand when you are the second shooter that the end product is going on someone else. So if you make mistakes, I mean, you're messing up someone else's reputation. I can't live with that.
Well, you got to also understand that the people don't understand is that, well, me personally, I can teach somebody talent. I can't teach you how to care. And if you don't come into it care as much as you ain't got to care as much as I do in reality, but you have to care. Mm-hmm. You have to come in there saying, well, yep, I'm trying to make sure I don't want to make this man look bad and I don't want to be seen as bad and I don't want any issues. So I'm going to operate to the best of my ability versus I'm here to get a check. I don't want to give my best to the person, because if I give my best shots, then I'm making this person look good, and in reality, they don't have blah blah blah. When I used to second shoot, I used to be a sponge. I'm in there. Greg and Sean.
That's the whole point of it.
Greg and Sean, y'all heard, y'all gonna hear this.
Not
so
really, but
when I second shot, I used to be in there taking pictures of their equipment. I'm asking questions about why they use this. If they got their laptops out and they leave the room in the bathroom, I'm still in program names. I'm in that jacket. I'm in Greg. Just so you know, I'm looking at their finished products, snapping pictures of that. It's some stealing involved in that, and the problem is people come into like, well, I'm doing you a big favor, ma'am. You're getting paid, or sir, you're getting paid. So you're doing a job. You're not really doing anybody a favor. And I think the problem is it's just a thing of there's no real definition of the industry standard. So some people feel like, oh, well, I have equipment, I should get 50. That's fine, but if you don't have a portfolio to follow the equipment,
I got it.
You don't necessarily.
I got it.
And on top of that, I also feel like you can't necessarily tell somebody what they should charge. If one of y'all is paying $25 an hour, then I'm pretty sure that the work behind it is going to be equivalent. So, all right, I need you to take a shoot. That's basically me. Stand there, hit record, and just make sure I don't stop recording. That's actually overpaid. Actually,
you ain't gonna find that much nowhere else outside.
It's some people who are working. I just came from a cruise, and there's some people who are working extremely, extremely hard just to make sure that literally they are working for pennies on this cruise I went to. They basically, and no Americans are really on this joint, so it's all foreign people, and they told me like they basically don't have to pay them minimum wage. They can pay them whatever because their minimum wage or what they pay them, they take it to their country and because they're not used to making a whole lot. So in their minds, we good. Here it's almost like a privilege. And if you can't find somebody who necessarily cares about your brand, just cares about doing a good job and their reputation, because I mean, they think about it. You go out here, say I don't know, Eric shoots for me, and he just is out of focus majority of the wedding. He already got his check. You're not gonna check the footage. Now I could be a jerk and look at the footage before I pay him. He don't have to pick up his phone anymore, and I can't find him. That's why I understood there's a photographer who I know very well. He made people sign contracts. Like, you're not getting paid, or he wouldn't pay you until he saw the footage or the photos. Because in his mind, if this don't come out right, then we're gonna re-talk about this conversation that you're supposed to get. I'm docking something because at the end of the day, you're the one taking all the risk. I'm taking all the risk.
I'm glad you said that, bro, because honestly, I literally was gonna hit on like that exactly. Your words exactly was to me, JB, you got to find somebody that cares and that want to see you do good. And I remember when I first met Will, like I was genuinely happy to see him come up. I was genuinely happy to see him go from like the weddings that he was doing when he first started to where he's at now. And you know, it's kind of hard finding people that don't have that's not gonna ego trip when they see other people win, because everybody want to win, and we're in a society that's selfish. And I'm not even gonna. I disagree with you to the extent of saying that it's a little bit of stealing involved, because when you're in an environment and like your mentor in a sense understands the fact that you care enough, they look for somebody to pass it on to. I mean, that's why we all come into the business. That's why we learn from other people. That's why we propel ourselves. So one day we can pass this on to somebody that remind us of ourselves. So, you know, it's not a matter of stealing. It's a matter of, you know, take in that moment of being a second shooter. Understand, like, don't get jealous at it. I looked at it and it was inspiring to me to see both of y'all. Like, y'all are young men, you know what I'm saying? And you're doing your own thing. You make your own dollar, whether that's 30,000, whether that's 50,000, 80,000, 100,000. You know, those are things to celebrate. Those are things that's worth celebrating because you got that off of yourself. You know, and when you in an environment like that, you genuinely just want to see everybody do good, and it inspires you to let you know if they did that, I could do that. And you know, sooner or later, people gets to see your heart. The longer you stay. I remember like one wedding I worked with Will. I would literally ask him like, bro, what's your settings? Because I want to make sure like my camera match the quality that you were putting out to your clients. You know what I mean? I literally felt good when I got to see like, a couple of my detail shots on his blog. I was like, oh snap, I made it. You know what I mean? Like this, you know what I mean? But you don't know, you know what I mean? And it's like you really do got to find people that really want to see your brand propel and that want to see you do good, because it's a 360 process that happens with that. You know, they see something in you and then they start imparting more wisdom in you. Like this man give me so much game on a daily basis. You know what I mean? I thank God for like just y'all in general for taking the time to impart wisdom inside me. And there's just more people that need to understand, like, don't get jealous of that person's position. Understand that the road that you're on as a second shooter, they was there themselves. And the fact that they're hiring you as a second, that is a reflection of you soon.
Let me hold on. Let me say this. A second shooter is a really great job.
Oh, fact.
Oh, it's
amazing.
It's cake.
I
I'm
learned
not gonna
all
lie.
my new shots
It's cake.
from Will's way.
It's cake.
You're getting paid.
No, believe me, it's cake.
You're
I'll
getting
take
paid $35 an hour, 25 plus an hour, and you have no responsibility.
You go home.
And you go home.
You go home.
And
Yeah.
so basically, go in there, you can do the basics. You ain't got to go in there and do your best angles. Just do the basics, and you're gonna make $120 to maybe $300 plus. Like I do you think I like writing checks there? I don't.
Well, I can attest to that. He does not like writing checks to me.
My house, and I've written him a check for $600 something.
Let's not put that business on the air. My pockets are still slim, y'all.
That hurt my
these
feelings.
streets.
That hurt my feelings. But I'm gonna tell you though, like,
We don't know who's listening. I will not disclose what I pay anybody.
I'm just saying.
By the way, JB, I know what car you drive.
It hurt my feelings. But it was worth it to pay him. You know, but I'm based off what Marcus just said. Where else in America can you go and do that?
There's a lot of places you can go, but I'm saying as far as
other than selling drugs.
I'm just saying as far as it's way like people could literally become second shooters, like I said the word, but people can make a career off second shooting.
Fact.
You can work 4 times a week and get an extra $600 to $700 a month. Some people paying $50 a month. In some places they're making $50 a week an hour. That's $400 a wedding, and you work that 4 times a month, $1,600 extra income.
Imagine working,
and you're not
Friday,
held
Saturday,
accountable
and
for
Sunday.
anything.
Yeah,
Hence why I do it.
Except for dealing with. It's just except for dealing with the person that hired you.
The chaos of the day of.
And the person that hired, and no, it's not even the chaos because you really in the least responsible role. Yeah. So it's like, all right, if you mess this up, it ain't really gonna mess the day up, except for groom prep. But if you mess up, if you don't nail cocktail hour, you literally are just being in the places I can't be, which is fine. If you don't know the person, y'all don't know how y'all shoot. But some people out here literally have portfolios will make you think, oh, they gonna do it, and then you get there and it's like
they got a Rebel T3.
Like I had a guy who worked with me on the New York wedding, and I had to send somebody up there to work for me because I was already booked. This man didn't have a car.
He didn't have a CF card?
He didn't have a car.
A car?
In New York. So he flies the train metro everywhere. And which is fine. That's New York. I thought I should have asked that. He was late because he didn't have a car.
He was a second.
He had a car. He didn't have a car. So it's like, okay, why not put that out there? Hey man, I ride the metro. I know you're in Virginia, so you may not know how this works, but we metro majority everywhere. And I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe we have to pick you up. So,
well, like to backpedal just a little bit, I know JB and I have had this talk before about learning from somebody else and kind of like taking that step back to build your own artistry. You know, it's kind of hard for a lot of people to take that step back and just realize that to become a better artist, sometimes you got to learn from other people, whether you believe in everything they're doing or not. You know, you still can learn from somebody at all times. I think sometimes in videography it's a little bit different than on the photo side. You know, especially when you're behind the camera, we're doing videos, you know, the whole idea of team aspect should be a portion of it. If people aren't working on a team when they're doing video, they should not be touching the camera ever, because that's basically the collaborative process that is film.
It's hard. First of all, it's hard for me to work for get anybody to work for me.
Yeah.
I just don't, because I believe what makes a great teammate is I don't need you to have your own gear. But there's a lot of people out here who just don't care, and they don't really take well to criticism. So it's like, bro, this is what I need you to fix, or this is how you can make it better. It's not like I go in and just, I'm telling you, yo, you trash. It's like, no, this is what you can. This is how we can tweak this, and that's how you make it better. But I think the number one thing is just care. Just go in there caring about and make sure that you care about making the client happy, not me, but make sure the client is happy. And I can teach you everything else you need to know.
Or can I say one more thing? Because you were talking about caring. One thing that really bothered me that I see people do is passing out their cards at another person's
oh God,
that makes
is so
absolutely
disrespectful.
No sense to me. Like, that's a
so
part
disrespectful.
That's a part of being grateful for where you at. When you walk into another man's establishment, another man's wedding, it's like a slap in their face to pass out your card or whatever. Like, people would come up to me asking specifically, like, "Oh, we like you for your card." I would let them know this isn't my wedding. I could get a card from Will Hawkins, and I'll let Will know, like, this person, you need to go talk to this person. You need to go talk to that person, and that builds the bond with the friendship, with the relationship, and with the team morale. Because loyalty and honor is things you can't buy off of a shelf.
And Marcus could attest to this, man. I started carrying around Marcus's cards every time I shoot. Because I get asked so much, like we're doing, it's like, oh man, who you guys? Like, boom, I just pass out the cards. Like, it's nothing. It's no big deal. I mean, I know for a fact, and the way I look at it is this: if I put him on, I'm getting on too. I'm making a paycheck as well. So why am I gonna be mad if I get him another gig?
I just would fire him if I caught him.
I believe that.
Well, I hear that at least 6 times a wedding.
He's gone.
We don't even mention his name around here anymore.
Yo, he dead. He's gone.
I had another dude that worked for me. I didn't have to fire him. I just stopped calling him.
Ghosted.
So, if you're listening, you know why Marcus stopped calling you.
I think that certain people are so gassed up off of social media and doing weddings on their own, and no one critiques them.
True story.
No one says anything about this. So they think that what they put out is a deliverable product.
True.
It's not. I'm going to tell y'all right now. Josh was a godsend. A godsend. I got to gas this man up right here in front of his face.
You writing this down,
when
right?
I met Josh, Marcus can attest to this. Do you know how many second shooters I ran through?
I didn't talk to Josh when I first met him.
No, he didn't.
Because Will had so many second shooters. I wasn't trying to get to know these people until I knew they were there the second time I saw them. That worked with him. Just to put that out there.
And I'm hard on myself when it comes to photography. Like, if this is not right, I'm going to learn how to do it. I'm going to fix it. I messed up one time. I'm going to correct it. So when I get a second shooter's work and I got to go through 2,000 photos of garbage to only use 100 photos, and I've paid you $25, $30 an hour, and I'm only using 100 photos, what were you there for? So Josh cared. That was from the beginning. Like, you cared. And this man showed up to the first wedding we ever did with a suit and tie on.
That was another reason why Marcus ain't talked to me. Let's be real here.
That is.
He had on a suit and tie. Like,
He's not lying. I saw that gold tie and I was like, who is this country Bama over here thinking he fly this wedding? Like, whose father is this? With dress shoes. I'm like, we gotta work 8 hours. You got here with dress shoes on. But now,
it was impressionable.
It's dressed to impress, man.
Yeah.
If somebody came there it's some people who don't know how to dress for weddings. Let me put that out there. I had to do a show with black jeans. He got sent home.
And to speak on that, that was the reason why I showed up in that. You know what I mean? Because Will wasn't the first person I second shoot with. And it was just like every in the industry have their own standard. And at the particular time, the person that I was working with, they did have, like, you dress up casual. They have a higher, more luxurious clientele. You want to let them know why they're paying for that. They're paying it for, your attire is a part of your professionalism. You know what I mean? Before you walk into a room and open your mouth, you're getting eyes on you. So,
they judging you.
Yeah, it was definitely just a statement to show, that we here to work, we here to like just handle business type of deal. And I wasn't personally trying to like negatively affect or represent somebody else's brand that wasn't mine.
No, I know how you feel, man. Like when I started working with Marcus and doing the bridal expos and stuff like that, man, I was overdressed at every single one of them. Still do, but still, it's like when you're not the owner of the company, you're a representative, so you got to over-represent.
He's not overdressed because he's the guy in the booth.
I pretty much, that is true.
He's people. If you ever come to a bridal show and you're looking for Intellect Media, just talk to Amber or talk to Eric. Do not think
I'm
you're
on
going
vendor
to find
networking,
Marcus.
and
That's
most
what
of
he
the
says.
time I'm also working the video because
Whatever, man.
I get asked to do the shows.
Whatever.
So in my mind, why do I got to be in the booth? I'm the magician.
You're the one shooting the video.
Exactly. So you know what? We're not doing this. So, what do you believe makes a good shooter, JB?
What you just said, man, just caring enough about another man coming up, caring enough about being in that position, and just caring enough about your craft. Outside of me caring enough for Will, I didn't feel comfortable giving him certain things, and that was why in the beginning I asked him numerous times, could we sit down and go through like literally every photo and tell me what was good, bad, and ugly, so I could move forward from that. So it's really just caring.
Most people do not have their pride is too big to even do something like that. Like, I know this is good. What do I need to ask if this is good for? Like, this is good. My other clients love it. Okay.
That's your clients.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not my client.
Right.
That's why I can't do I've been fortunate enough to have 2 shooters since I've been full time. I had this guy named Matt who I taught, and once again, Matt cared, and I rock with him. I've had Eric, and I've had people who have reached out to get me to replace Eric with them, and which I'll never say who they are, but who have tried to take Eric's job from him. And you got to understand is that caring to me is way more important than you may be. You may be a lead shooter and have your own thing. First of all, I got to train you how I shoot. That ain't gonna happen because you're gonna wind up taking it and doing what you want with it. And 2, how do I know you're gonna care? And availability. I know he's on my website, so ain't nobody gonna be coming to me here trying to take him. So, and he's been introduced on the Instagram page. He's fully invested in this, and he's my real estate agent, so he needs it. So
I do what I gotta do.
Put y'all out here that it comes back in many ways to one.
This is a plug.
It's a plug.
Shameless plug.
But my point is,
I ain't mad about it.
is that it's different for him than it is you two, Will and Josh, because Josh, you are a guy who's going into his own and
Not
making
going.
his
This
name.
man is gone.
And people are going to know this name. And people are starting to recognize his name. So I always say it's harder for photographers because the best shooters in reality are lead shooters. Mm-hmm. For y'all, because it's so much y'all have to. I mean, I always say being a photographer is a little bit easier, but on the wedding day, it's so much less pressure because y'all are like, hey, first kiss, okay, blah, 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 blah. That's like 50 shots. I miss it. I blink.
Who does that?
My point is, if you didn't catch the first one, you could catch the second one or the third one.
What you call them?
Active shooters.
Active shooters.
My point is, you can do multiple. You can get it multiple times. If I'm not in position when he leans for that kiss, it's over.
You're done.
It's over.
Yes.
So it's important for us to have a system versus by the time you two get a system with your second, I mean, they move. Who's going to turn down their own wedding
to make
pennies, a couple $100?
Right.
So how do you adjust to that with knowing, okay, you finally got somebody who you can work with, but he's a young phenom, basically, and eventually he is going to command his own calendar, and as he builds it, he's going to be less available for you.
So I saw this coming a year ago. Josh was on his way out, and I just knew that eventually, like, I was going to have to find some way to replace him. I'm working on that slowly but surely now. But I'm happy for him, man. Like, just go. Do what you got to do, man. This is... And it's rare that people can do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, just go. Do it. I'm happy for you. A second shooter will come along again. So I think that being mindful and being prepared for his elevation was something that I had to be mindful of. Like, I knew it looking in Lightroom, editing his pictures from 2017 to last year. It's done. This is a wrap here.
I remember Will used to send me random pictures that I would take with fire emojis. He'd be like, bro, you did this. He was like, just keep it up. You know what I mean? And, you know, kind of to
not deep down knowing as I keep building him up, he's going to keep walking away.
Yeah, but I'm cool with it.
But, you know, at the end of the day, bro, like, that goes back to what I was saying in the beginning. I feel like that's a part of the whole process and why we got into this. You know, you want to find somebody that's a reflection of you, and you impart wisdom and you hope for the best for them. You know, like, I did a bridal show this year with Will and Marcus, and, you know, like, just being in the same arena with them was, like, a blessing in itself. Like, looking up, I was just like, bro, I'm just happy to be here, you know? So
I think everybody goes through that process. When I came up, I was the exact same way. You get to the big you get to you get your big wedding, and you get to the bridal show where you in there with the vets.
The names.
It's like, yo, I'm in here rubbing elbows with some people who I looked up to, and it's like now you become, and it's all about giving back. It's all about preparing the next wave. So same thing with us. I mean, anybody who comes in here who wants to learn. Let me put this disclaimer out there.
Not anybody.
That it's not anybody. I'm sorry, but anybody who's serious that I've vetted who wants to learn video, I bring him. He's not intimidated by that.
And some of the best advice
because he's getting paid by
some of the best advice Will ever gave me for real, like for like the people that's out here second, was like, you know, even though you're a second photographer, like still have a lead photographer's mentality when you're at somebody else's wedding. It helps you care more. It helps you get better shots. It helps you not like just stand around just like, oh, it's not my wedding type deal. It's like really push yourself, because if you plan to be in that person's position one day, you're training yourself for where you about to go at. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I recommend second shooting, because it's a blueprint to how you got to get to where you got to go at.
And my problem, back to my problems. Jesus. Is the problem. Like, we need to all come together. People need to put their pride aside. If I know that I can't do lighting in a venue such as the Chrysler, the Oceanair, the historic post office is a big one. Please go in there as a rookie and try to light that. And we'll see what happens on the other side. We have to impart wisdom in each other, because the entry into this is so low right now. It's not even funny. Like, no one is getting educated, and I think that second shooting is like the best way for you to get educated in order to become successful in this. Like, how else are you going to learn? How else? You can sit around watching thousands of hours of YouTube videos on weddings, but you're not going to learn anything until you go out here and assist. Maybe even assist. Don't even second shoot yet. Maybe you're not even ready to second shoot. Just assist. Learn. Stop thinking you're too big to learn just because you got 5,000 likes on a natural light photo. Yeah, I said it.
Well, so is there anything anybody else like to add before we go ahead and? I think we need to go ahead and cut this, because the way Will is going, we won't have a second season.
I'll tell you what. Let me add one thing though. I say that we talk things from the perspective of being the second shooter, but on the flip side of it, as a second shooter, what you should look for in a lead, as opposed to the lead looking for in a second shooter.
True.
Like, you should always understand that your skills, no matter how good you think your skills are, your skills always need to be sharpened. Your skills always could be better. Your skills are always in need of improvement. So when you work with someone that you admire, you see what they're doing, it's like, just take it from that perspective. It's like, yo, they're doing something that I did not know how I could do this before. Let me learn how to do that. The best way to learn from it is be hands-on and have something on the line. I mean, if you can go in there, volunteer, and not do anything, no camera in your hand, you're not really learning anything. You might as well go learn under somebody, snap the photos, have them critique it, and run you down. So that way you know what you got to do better. Like, the best thing me and Marcus do every year, and we do it about twice a year, we have a full critique session. he goes through. He's like, yo, I went through the weddings. Here's your bin. Here's your bin. I wish you would have adjusted here. This is what I'm looking for here. This is what I'm looking for here. On the flip side of it, he goes, yo, something I could have done better to communicate. Let me know. Boom, boom, boom. It's not just one thing. It's the other. Both people are growing together. They're growing up and they're learning how to get better and better. If you have that aspect that you want to learn and become an artist and really have artistry, you got to have the whole desire to learn and grow and be better.
You also have to realize, as a lead, I make mistakes every wedding. I don't walk into no wedding perfect. Nope. I just did a wedding Saturday, and I'm looking over the footage, and it's like,
let me ask you something. Do you ride home thinking about everything you could have done better? No. I'm
not thinking about nothing when I drive home. But when I get into the footage, I get into the footage, I realize it.
Really?
I do, because I thought I was moving at a pace and I was too fast. I didn't know it because I didn't have time to play it back. But because there's so many places we have to be.
Things that you are responsible for as the contract holder.
Yep.
But honestly, Marcus, you hit a great point, bro.
This really does bother you, I can see. But that's just my thing. You make a mistake every wedding, man, and I'm not perfect. So when I see mistakes that Eric made, and that's what they are, they're mistakes. It's not like he walked in there and said, yo, I'm going to go in here and overexpose this shot by a little bit. He didn't know that. So, and I also have to think from my mindset of what was the circumstances that he was faced with. If he doesn't know, if I didn't prepare him for certain stuff, I can't be mad if he didn't know, if he didn't prepare in his mind how to do it. If I don't tell him what the bride and groom wants, how does he know to get it? So it's one of those things where he's going to default to what he normally does. So it's one of those things where as a leader, sometimes like he said, you have to make sure you are a good leader. And the best leader is falling on the sword first. First time we open up, I'll tell him what I did wrong, or I'll show him his good. And I always make sure his good outweighs his bad. Because if somebody always feels like they get beat on, bro, then you're not going to get the best out of them. Nope. So that's why it's better but first of all, for the ones that's out here listening, that's no excuse to not go in there and do your best. If you're just a regular second shooter for one time, there's no excuse. You have to go in there and give your absolute best because you want to get called back.
It's an audition. Every time it's an audition.
He came with me one time. I bought him back. He got a raise last year. He's not getting one this year. I gave him a raise last year.
That, man.
And
Eric, I think you could command $40 an hour at this point. I really do. America, if you can see his face right now, it's hilarious.
Hey, Marcus, I got a new agent.
After the check I just wrote him, he's not getting $40 or anything. But that's just the main thing. What were you saying, Josh?
I was saying you hit on a great point as far as you making mistakes. The client don't always realize that, but if you man enough or woman enough to admit that the second photographer, the second videographer, or whatever you're even if you're assistant, whenever you get in that position, you understand how to handle that. I learned a lot from seeing how calm Will would be in hectic situations and how that calmed the environment down. And I was like, oh wow, next wedding I got on my own. This is where I know how to implement this calm in the storm type mentality. And honestly, in a lot of the compliments I get is that people always tell me how hectic the day got. I never lose my cool. And one of the people that I attest that to is honestly never seeing Will lose his cool. Like I know him personally, so I could tell when he's frustrated. But you know him personally.
What do you think he figured that out?
Yeah, you know that he's you know him personally though. So we know when Will is frustrated, but he never shows that frustration to a client. And
he has.
One.
He has.
I've seen it once.
I've been on weddings with this dude and had to pull him to the side. Hey, sir. Yo.
Well, we need to talk.
Come back.
That was when he was going through his trial and error season of seconds.
But you know why? You know why you stay calm? Because it ain't about you.
Fact.
Nope. The minute he realized he can still be great, but he don't have to get the idea. Because we all had that shot we want. Like
it's always you have this.
If you don't get it, you just don't get it.
Image going into this wedding, like I got to get this today. Like you have this gameplay that you think you're going to run. And
me too. I had it for every wedding.
It does not work out like that. And
roll with the punches.
If the client loves it, That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's all that matters.
And I'll say from the years working with Marcus, the one thing I've gotten in the habit of too is like just noticing when I may fall back at old habits or may do something a little bit off. And I'll just show him like, yo, Marcus, I ran through, feel like I was underexposed. I just want to show you what you got, make sure you get what you need. You know, then I'll show you the other stuff I did. You know, I want to make sure.
Cuss him out when I see it in editing. I know before I walk in what happened. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up because I got things to do today. So this is the Hustle and Motivate podcast. We had our special guest, Joshua Boone of Joshua Boone Photography.
Where can they find you at, sir?
JoshBoonePhotography.com or _Josh Boone on Instagram.
Then we've got my main man, Eric Camacho of Intellect Media. You can find him at intellect-media.com.
That is so messed up.
But go ahead, and he also has a real estate.
Wait a second. I also got the email for the Intellect Media too, so it's all good.
We have emails.
You can always find me.
But go ahead and plug the real estate, man. Cause
yeah, man. Like I do work real estate is a full-time job, that's also the reason why it's my pleasure to be a second shooter. But it's Eric Camacho at HealRealty.com. You always find me there. Yeah, just find me online. Look for Eric Camacho Realty.
And y'all know who we are.
One more thing. Remember.
Y'all have a good one. Bye.